Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the channel. If you have not been to it before, my name is Rasim, aka OT Rookie. And for those of you who do not know what that means, it means over the road rookie, as I am somebody who has not been driving for a long amount of time to be considered not a rookie, I suppose, but I do believe we all are rookie in something in life. Essentially, today's topic, I'm gonna try to kind of navigate the people who are not familiar with the trucking industry on what it takes to become a truck driver in 2019 or even 2018, as a matter of fact, as all of the major changes that have happened are affecting last year as well as this year. I don't think there's anything really that major in this year. So the way I'm gonna go about it is not gonna be like, oh, get your license, get hired at a company, that's it. You know how that works. Uh, I'm gonna go try and explain how you should do it, why I did it this way, how did I do it, and then based on my experiences that I did have in this about a year of driving or so, what do I think? So let's just jump straight into it. Your first thing, and number one thing that you should think about before you get into trucking or even think about going into trucking is that you need to decide. And you're like, oh man, this guy is saying, oh, I need to decide this and that. I've already decided I want to be a truck driver. No, I don't think you understand really and truly what it takes. So when I'm sitting here and telling you that you need to decide, I mean, you really need to sit down and think about your future. Think about, is this something that I want to do long term? Is this something I want to do short term? Because believe me, if you're just thinking short term, get in, make some money and get out, it's probably not what you want to do, especially if it's over the road, because you're gonna spend so much time just trying to get a license and getting trained. It's just not going to be worth it if you're just thinking short term. It's just not. And that's why I'm saying you need to decide. So when I say decide, I think the best thing to help you decide is to experience trucking firsthand. And you're like, well, how do I do that? Well, the way I did it, and obviously your situation is not going to be same as mine because you do not have a girlfriend who has a dad that owns a trucking company, which is what happened with me. I went to school and I never thought about trucking until I got done with school and I realized the office job was just not for me and I started looking for alternatives. And he was like, hey, you want to go with me? You can see what it's like. And I was like, yeah, definitely. So that kind of leads us to this point. You need to find somebody who's been driving for a decent amount of time, and that's an owner operator because probably company drivers obviously can't do that. As an owner operator, who's gonna let you go with them on the road? And I would say, like, go with them on the road for like a week, and maybe within the first day or two, you're gonna see things that you had no idea happen, and you're gonna be like, oh boy, I had no idea this is what it's like, and it might change your mind. On another hand, it might make you even more motivated. You might like it. Um, but that's like number one thing is that you simply just need to decide, because once you decide to do this, going back is going to be extremely hard because believe me, this is not a lifestyle as people say. This is a life because trucking, you eat, sleep, and you know the rest. Trucking, especially if you're over the road. I mean, if you're working for a big company, you're gonna be on the road for, I don't even know. Most of them are on the road for like 2, 3 weeks at a time, and they come back home for like 5 days, and you're back on the road. I mean, this is your life. For myself, as I work for a smaller company locally, which is my girlfriend's dad company, I'm on the road usually 4 or 5 days at a time, and then I'm home 2, 3 days. And I go back on the road. It works out for me. I could not do the 3 weeks. I think that's, in my opinion, excessive. I just could not. I get sick of being in here after a week, and I just want to get out. I want to go home. see my girlfriend, see my mom, whatever. So that's number one. As I blabber through that, let's go to number two. And all of these things are going to tie into each other. So, number one, you went with somebody and you drove with them and you got to know what it's like, how it is that you sleep, how do you like electronic logbooks, the shippers, receivers, the whole package. And you're like, yes, I want to drive. So you're like, okay, number two, how do I get my license? Well, number two and number three could kind of tie into each other. Number two, I would say, is how do you get your license? And number three would be, well, what company are you going to work for? And the reason I say you need to have these tie into each other is because if you're going to work for a company that's big, they most likely have a training program for you that you could probably take advantage of. And let's say the drive you went driving for actually owns his own company and you already been going with him, well, maybe you could just continue going with him and train. He could help you get your license, and then you could work with for him. But in case you don't want to do any of that, you just want to get a license and then see your options. Your number two is just get a license, and that's our point. I would say the best possible way for you to gain experience is instead of going to a driving school and paying $2,000-3,000 for it and just passing a test, put the $2,000-3,000 in your pocket and don't work for 2 to 3 weeks. Go back to number one and go with an experienced driver for 2 to 3 weeks on the road. Somebody who's gonna let you drive and somebody who's gonna show you the ropes. Trust me, you're gonna thank me later. You're gonna learn so many things that driving school will never learn you. You gotta keep in mind, driving school's job is to get you to pass your test. Nothing else. That's it. They're not going to teach you how to slide your tandems, how to back into a tricky dock, how to go on a scale, like how to find parking, where should you park, where should you not park, uh, how to go about DOT inspection, any of those things. Their job is pass the exam, pass the test, get your license, get out the door. That's it. So number two is you should just go with someone instead of paying that money. Keep that money in your pocket and go with someone and learn the ropes that way. So once you've done that, you're gonna go to number three, which is the company. And all of these steps are extremely important, but I think company is gonna be very important because the company you work for is probably gonna affect on how you feel about trucking to begin with. And what I mean by that is if you work for a big company, you're just a number. They most likely know you as number five instead of Josh or whatever your name may be. Whereas if you work for a small local company, they're going to know you by your first name basis. And if you're like, oh, hey, could I come back home this day? They're most likely going to get you back home before the big company will. The big company, you probably have to tell them like a week in advance to be home. And it's just not going to work out for you. And another thing is, you're going to learn the ropes much better with a small company opposed to the big company. And so when you're working for a small company, and again, this is going to also be dependent on what your long-term goal is. If your long-term goal is to be an owner-operator, go for the small company. Uh, a lot of guys are like, oh man, I want a newer truck, this and that. Trust me, the experience is much, much more important than a new 2020 Volvo that you'll drive at whatever company, one of the big guys. You know who I'm referring to. But if you're thinking short term, even after explaining to you what my thoughts are on it, if you're still thinking I just want to do a short term, make some money, by all means, just go to one of the big guys, get the newest truck, be comfortable, do a bunch of miles, get your money. You won't really have a life. You don't care. Great, do that, make your money and get out. But if you want to do long term and maybe become an owner operator someday, go for a small company. and talk to guys, talk to truckers, get to know the environments, get to know where the shops are, get to know how things are fixed, get to know what is maintained how. Don't be the person that says that's not my job. If something breaks down, try to fix it because you may have your own truck in the future. Same thing may happen, and instead of paying road service $1,000 to come and put a cap on your tank or something, you will know that issue and you will do it yourself. I mean, that's just kind of my 2 cents. So I think there's a lot more to what I discussed, obviously, but those are some of my main points that I want to point out to you guys, kind of like how to go about getting into this industry. Obviously, if you just want to be a truck driver, you can just contact one of the big companies, just as you know, like whatever they may be, Prime, Swift, JB Hunt. They'll get you on board very fast. They'll train you and everything, but in the long run, I think you'd be much happier with my process. At least that's what I think from my experience. So that's kind of my 2 cents. I wanted to just make this video. Could it be more detailed? Yes, for sure. I could talk about this until tomorrow. If you do have any more questions, please feel free to drop them in here tomorrow. Not, I mean, tomorrow. Just ask below whenever it is that I upload this. If you have other questions, shoot me an email at otrookie@gmail.com and make sure you put question in subject line, otherwise it won't get seen. But yeah, that's kind of enough for this video. It wasn't really nothing exciting. It's just listening to me talk. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching. Comment, share, like, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't. And catch you guys on the next one.